kept mainly variegated plants. For those who don't know what variegated plants are, they are basically colorful foliages, which is formed by mutation of the genes itself from the mother plant or cuttings, or even could be produced in the lab from tissue culture as well. So in the plot itself, we kept mainly philodendrons, monsteras, alocasia, and selected anthuriums. But as you can tell from the back, everything is all colorful. So those are variegated plants lah.
Yeah. I think another thing about what Hafiz said, right, is also because for variegated plants, you don't really know how the next leaf is going to be. If the next leaf is green, then too bad for you lah. But if not, then it's definitely something to look forward to, as what Hafiz said.
Hi guys, welcome to Wild Wild West. We are located at JPG Community Plot in Jurong East. So let me bring you guys in. So this is our grand entrance area. You can see it's greeted by a water feature with our water-loving plants, all the Homaluminas and our Monsteras. Yeah, so this is our humble plot. So come on in. Okay, so basically I think before we got this plot, I actually got Toby to design on SketchUp to have a mock-up of how the layout. And the concept is, I already told him I wanted this kind of Japanese Zen concept. Like I want it to look like a garden and not like a plot. So I want it for us to actually have a chill out space where we can appreciate every single plant of its beauty. I don't want it to be like a hoarding kind of storage place. So that's why I think we can actually appreciate every single plant as it is if you really plan your concept well. Okay, so basically the concept behind this plot, as you guys can see, it's a lot of bamboo fans, wooden racks, and also this kind of Muji concept as well. For example, I created this bamboo fence over here is actually to block to have some privacy, because because we are actually a corner plot. So beside us, there's another plot. But over at the other end, you guys can see there's a passageway outside. So I didn't really cover with bamboo fence because I wanted the airflow to actually go in and also to create more light to come in. Because if everything is covered up in bamboo fence, right, we will look like we are in a panda cage, like those river safari, right? But no lah. And I think because of the airflow also, I don't want to block the airflow. So that's why I created that. Have this kind of privacy, but at the same time I open up some area to give more light in and also airflow in. And for the concept for the racks as well, we got it actually from Taobao lah, mainly lah. So we wanted to have this kind of 3-tier racks because we want to appreciate every single plant of its uniqueness and its characteristic and its beauty lah. We want it to look like a museum in that sense. Then we can really, take some time, appreciate its beauty and monitor the growth. It's easier as well, and everything is all like well spread out apart, and then we can really appreciate all these beautiful plants. Yeah, back then I was growing plants along my corridor, and it got even bigger, like my collection got even bigger. And then Tobias was, he actually stayed near me. So I was looking for a plot mate who lives nearby lah, so it's easier for us to actually, next time when we have the plot, so it's like everything is all along the way, not like you have to travel to Seletar or Punggol, it's so far away. So I guess he's like the perfect plot mate lah. Initially, it was hard for me to find a plot mate because not many plant friends that I know lives in the west.
Everyone at Punggol, man.
Yes,
I don't know
everyone is in Punggol, Tampines, or in the east lah, basically.
I think actually it was at like the right moment lah, because I was also looking to expand, because after graduating from uni, in a way, like when you start work, you have more money, but unfortunately you don't have like the same amount of time as compared to uni. So I want to look for a place where I can, like, in a way, put my plants at and know that they'll be cared for lah. So I think when he approached me, whether or not we want to like try and see how plot life works, I think it was like pretty happy how it turned out lah, actually. Because like happy to see my plants going very well here.
So we actually like fishes also lah. We collect fishes at home. We have terrapins as well at home. So we wanted to have this garden concept that is different from everyone else. So like what we mentioned earlier on, this is actually like a Japanese Zen kind of vibe here. So we try to infuse a little bit here and there lah. Like we play along with a lot of woods, bamboo, touch of whites here and there. So as you can see, all my pots here are all unison. They are all in white specifically. So I'll just show you guys in some more. Okay, this is actually one of our favorite corner. This is our variegated alocasias. I would say this is my favorite plant so far. This is the Bambino pink variegated that I got it, I think about 2 months back in Planters Market at MBS from PN Garden. Shout out to Pen, thank you for this, very beautiful. Yeah, and also maybe Toby, you want to share about this Friedek history?
Yeah, so I brought this from home. I grew it from I think about a year. It's quite big now, although it's not very wide, but I hope it will continue to give me more comms and be healthy lor.
Okay, I enjoy collecting Homalomina. In case you guys don't know what Homalomina is, I don't know if you all seen it at like Gardens by the Bay or Botanic Gardens, they have the green version lah. So, and usually these plants are located like along the river banks or near the water area lah. So they are like, I would say like a semi-aquatic plant. They love the water. They like to sit on water, as you guys can see here. But don't worry, we put BTI pellets just to avoid mozzies, because NEA is very strict on it also. So, but other than that, Homalominas are actually very beautiful plant lah. Like they grow upwards, like you guys can see here. They have different shapes, different variegations. So, for example, here this is a Homalomina pink diamond, also known as the Aromatica, I think so. Yeah, so they have this special, unique feature about them is they have these triangular leaves, and then they produce quite intense pink variegation. Whereas this one over here is a yellow sapphire. Okay, so this one they are like the Aurea variegation, but they have a rounder leaf shape as compared to the Homa pink diamond. So I collect a few of them here and there lah. But I'm trying to expand more on the Homa collection as well in the meantime. But my love is still the Monsteras over here. So you guys can see this is my favorite prize plant. This is the Monstera Aurea Bossygiana tricolor. So the unique specialty about this plant is they call it tricolor. As you guys can see, the color itself, they have the green, the lime green and the yellow variegation. So hence the name Monstera Aurea tricolor. And over there is the Monstera Aurea sectorial half moon. Let me show you over here. So you guys can see, okay, just now what we shared earlier on of the burning part, right? Because you guys can see here a lot of burn marks here and there. So burning and browning is inevitable. So you can't really stop them from burning because they are highly variegated. Otherwise, if you manage to keep it at a pristine condition with the right growing condition, of course, then the plant will just grow up beautifully.
So I think this is my favorite Monstera in the plot because I grew it when it was like just these 3 leaves over here. And now it's like almost taller than my girlfriend already. Okay, but with the stand, so okay, please don't beg at me. Anyway, yeah. So as you can see, right, there's a difference in the older leaves, like the younger leaves. They don't really have this. So this lobang or the holes you all call it's actually called fenestration lah. Then when it grows up in size and if you pull it well, so this is the tiglipo, then you start fenestrating, as you can see on the latest leaf here.
So there's 2 types of Monsteras. One is a deliciosa, one is a Bossygiana. So the 2 differences, deliciosa, the notes are closer. So they are much more closer as compared to the Bossygiana, which they have like a little bit of, they are more leggier in that sense. So that's how you differentiate. Another key differentiator is for deliciosa behind, they have these ruffles on their stem petiole, and their leaves are so much rounder and more thicker. So that's how you actually tell the difference between a deli. So next time, if someone sells you a Monstera deli and the price is very cheap, please try to look for all these characteristics, because in general, deliciosa, the price is much more pricier as compared to Bossygiana because of they grow slower and they are more rare as compared to Bossygiana. Apart from Monsteras, also we do have some Philodendrons. Okay, this one is also my pride and joy. I've been growing it since at home. Back then it was a 3-leaf, and then now this is Florida Beauty. It's getting common nowadays, but then again, to find a lobster size like this, we call it lobster size because of the shape. It looks like a lobster lah. But some people, they call it like differently lah. Yeah, but for myself, I grew this out from 3 leaves, and then even though it's at a plot, I mean it's not that tall, but it's very large right now lah. We have a couple of Florida Beauty over here as well. Then some Jungle Fever, Caramel Marble and Billy Tay, but these are all our friends one lah. Basically, the differences between Wild Wild West plot and other plot is, as you guys can see here, is slightly more brighter. He engaged about 75% of the shade net, but it doesn't feel like 75. It feels like 50.
I guess you have to be bright enough, but not too bright also,
Yeah.
because like these aeroids in general don't really like direct sun, so indirect is good enough, because based on what I learned over the years, variegated plants need more amount of light as compared to like the greener foliages.
If you give them lower light, chances of it reverting or it will loses its variegation. And also for watering, right, variegated plants, they are not like anthuriums where you can constantly mist them, keep them high in humidity. They still do need humidity, but they have to be on the drier side, meaning they need to be, for example, I host my plants, and then I have to ensure that the leaves dry up fast. Yeah, you cannot have water guttation or any water droplets lingering on the leaves. That will causes browning or burning as well. So you have to ensure like this doesn't really happen. But if you're growing it indoors, you have to constantly check and wipe off those excess water. But if it's outdoor, because it will dry up quite fast, so we have no issue on that lah. Okay, so for our watering schedule for the plants, right, we have this misting sprinklers that is, we have it on timer, as you guys can see over here. So it happens every 2 hours. We on it for about 2 minutes. And for watering wise, as you guys can see here, we have a spray hose. Sometimes when the weather gets too hot, we just spray hose the plants just to retain its humidity. But when the pot gets a bit lighter, right, then we will water through. So we only water through about, sometimes really depending on the weather for the week. If it's raining for the week, maybe it's just once a week enough, because our plot is actually fully covered with PE sheet, so it's protected from the rain. But for watering wise, we only water through only once a week or twice a week, depending on the weather for the week lah. I think it's important for you to understand your growing conditions first before you invest in all these kind of plants, because a lot of growers out there, they just buy because for the sake of buying or just FOMO buying. You need to assess your growing conditions first. You need to know whether your place have good airflow, enough light, and also thirdly is of course you have to use the right media and the right supplies. And also just to add on, because different growers have different ways of growing, so they might impart some knowledge to you, might work for them but might not work for you. Probably their growing condition is more ideal. Maybe they live in a higher floor, they got more ventilation, but if you live in a second floor, that kind, you don't have enough lights, you don't have enough ventilation, so you have to adapt to it, to the kind of growing conditions. So trial and error lah, I would say. I think that works the best. Then you find the joy of growing all this. Okay, I want to talk about this Monstera mint. This Monstera mint is also is our special plant between me and Toby. It's our shared plant. So this is a full mint Bossygenna large form. So large form, right, they are basically climbers, but they are cross between a Delisosea and the Bossygenna. So they are climbers, but they grow slower. And their leaves also is like more rounder and large, and the fenestration is larger. Like you can see, like the difference between a bossy, the fenestration is more smaller. This is more wider. Other than that, we do have some edibles fruit trees here. Here we have a variegated papaya and variegated pink musa, nono. Yeah, so we don't know whether we want to grow this until tall, but it might just take years for them to harvest fruits. But for now, we got them very, very small. Now it's almost like a medium size already lah. Okay, so this is Monstera creme brulee that I got recently also from Thailand. I've been wanting this plant for the longest time, but the pricing was super crazy back then. But thanks once again to PN Garden. She actually got me a nice specimen and a mature form that I can actually showcase in the plot lah. Okay, we have our pink corner over here. Our giant pink princess marble kings that we actually got it from Thailand as well, because we can't get it locally for this specimen and this size, to be honest. Most of our plants actually we source from Thais lah. It's easier to buy from Thai than locally because of the price difference as well lah. Okay, here is our lepak corner where we actually have some sofa activities here. not in that sense, but yeah. But basically, this is where we invite our family, our friends sometimes to come and hang out, because not many gardens or plot have a sitting area. So this is where we actually have a like just sometimes we don't feel like doing anything at the garden, so we just sit down here and just look at the plants and enjoy the view and vibe here basically.
I think for some of the challenges faced when growing variegated plants would be the chances of your plants actually reverting. So actually I have this favorite plant called the caramel marble variegated. So when I bought it, the first plant that we bought together, it was 900 for like one leaf lah. But what happened was, I think the subsequent leaves came out green, so it was quite a heartache. So what happened was, as what most people would advise to, is to cut and try to regrow the variegation, but it never unreverted, so it was green all the way lah. So I think that was one of the saddest moments in my journey with variegated plants. But apart from that, I think it's quite nice, because actually over time I feel the less you actually do stuff to your plants, right, the better they actually look.
Yep.
So I learned not to touch them so much and just let them do their stuff lah. Yeah, what about you? Got any challenges?
Yeah, for me, the challenges will be the burning, because certain plants, like if they are too highly variegated, right, the chances of browning and burning is always there. So no matter how perfect you kept the leaf will look, right, over time it will just burn. As long you don't kill the plant will still thrive lah. But like what Toby mentioned lah, if it just keeps producing green leaves or two yellow leaves, right, you just cut it off. Yeah, from the stem itself, because for every single variegated plants, you can see from the stem streaks, you can see like those green streaks and the yellow streaks on the stem. So from there you will then you can see the auxiliary bud. From there you determine the next growth point from there. So if you see the whole stem is green already, it's obviously reverting already. So you have to chop it off, where you find it like at the bottom part of the plant where you have more yellow streaks on it. But like I said, if you buy an established plant and the genes are very strong, you don't need trouble. But you just need to pay more lor.
Okay, so just now when we were talking about the streaks, right, these are actually the streaks that I was referring to. So these are like how you can kind of know whether or not your next leaf will be variegated or not lah. And as most hobbies in the variegated hobby would say, try to choose one with a nicely variegated stem. If not, the chances of it being green, as you can see on the newer leaf, since the stem is quite green, the new leaf is also quite green. However, I'm also quite okay with it, because the white parts, as you learn in like science, they don't have chloroplast. So they whichever lah. So it doesn't make food for the plant lah. So technically the white part, although it looks nice, it's kind of useless to the plant. So you want to have a good balance of white and green, as you can see from this particular specimen over here lah. So this is a good balance, and which some would call it marble or like wagyu, because it kind of resembles like how a nicely wagyu stick would look like lor. Okay, so now we're at the back of our plot lah. So as you can see, we have like 2 tanks here, mainly keeping our terrapins. So the smaller ones, we have like a few of these, they call it caramel lah. And these are the smaller ones. However, I have like the bigger ones. So these are like how they look like when they're bigger lor. So these are actually the same type as what you see those like $2-3 like terrapins that you can find in the normal pet shop. However, these are like morphs lah, because we like to keep variegated stuff. So in a way, you can call this like a variegated terrapin lah. And how we feed them, because we don't really come down to the plot every day, so we have like these auto feeders lah, and we do our due diligence by changing the water at least twice a week, because we are unable to run a filter here. So I think being in a community like this really is slightly different from being at home, because being at home, the main way we talk to other hobbies is like through the text, like Insta and all. But I think being in a community, really you can just walk over and ask your neighbor, because especially, I mean, we keep variegated plants here, but recently into anthuriums now also. So we have a plot buddy called Rendra and Rosie, also known as Bug Down on Instagram lah. So I think what really helps is that they are just like half a minute walk away, and once you walk over, you can just ask for tips.
And also that I think being in a community plot also, we have to look out for one another. Sometimes our water pipe bursts, or sometimes the wind gets too strong and then the plants fall, that kind of thing. So at least we can notify each other if this kind of thing happens. So it's like a safe space for everyone. We just like keep a lookout for each other. I think that's the spirit of this community plot. Yeah.